All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we are moving class online. This is the beginning of that shift to online classes. And so I wanted to take a minute to kind of set some expectations. Just generally, in terms of philosophy, my idea is to try to keep this as consistent with what we've been doing all semester as we possibly can. So I expressed that to you in an email message, and I just want to reiterate that now. You spent a lot of time working on this class, putting in good work over the course of the semester, and I don't want to reverse all of that. So I'm going to try the best I can to make the lab reports as consistent with what we had planned as possible. And I'm going to try to make the exams as consistent with what we've done previously as possible. So the idea is that I'm going to try to shift as little as I can. Um, I've got a few things that I want to talk to you about before I get into some content. The first, this is hard. I I have online learning is a whole challenge in and of itself, and you didn't sign up for an online class, and I didn't sign up to teach an online class, and so we're all being asked to do things that are outside or beyond our expectations, and so um, it I have no questions about whether or not this is going to be challenging. I know for a fact it is. Additionally, we're also dealing with a lot of stress from the outside world now, and so this virus has definitely affected our life. It will continue to do so. Maybe, well, I don't know how long it's going to continue to do so, but at least for the rest of the semester. And so we should plan for this to be the reality until May. And so if you're a senior and this is your last semester on campus, I'm sorry. I mean, I truly am. One of the reasons this is so hard is because college is, at least in part, a social experience. You come to college. I know I went to college in order to meet people and expand my, I don't know, circle. And so the social aspect is a big part of the reason why I went, and I assume it's part of the reason why you went as well. And so now that's been, um, I mean, it's not an option. So if this is your last semester, it's a tough way to end it. Um, but I think we should try to make the best of the situation. I think there's some learning that we can do. Actually, I know there's some learning that we can do. I think there are some things that we absolutely have to cover. And so what I'm trying to do is kind of pare this down to the most useful aspects of the last few weeks of, or the last 2 months of class. Um, I feel strongly that the things that we're going to cover as a group in an online environment are the things that we really need to know. So in lab, y'all were working on a molecular cloning experiment. We're going to do the best we can to try to push forward with that. We've got some data that we've generated, and so we'll talk you through the lab experience and then provide some data for you at the end of all of it. And so um, I have already posted the lab experience for this coming week. I got multiple questions from students when I sent an email out, and so it seemed like that was the top priority. Everybody was confused about how lab was going to work, and so I tried to get something together, and I hope you've had a chance to look at that. It took me some time to figure out exactly how I wanted to do this, and I reviewed two ways. So As You Learn is a platform that's available to everybody on campus. You all have access to Top Hat because you have already paid the subscription fee. The campus is pushing to have faculty use As You Learn. So for many of your other classes, you probably are using As You Learn. Um, I opted to do most of the content on Top Hat. And my rationale for that is that it allows us to embed, it allows me to embed videos, embed questions, and embed discussion boards kind of all in the same place. So the idea is that for a week, like you can already see that for a week in lab, you can go in and do everything that we're supposed to do for that particular week on one sort of, well, one page, one assignment. It's all contained in that one block. I'm going to do something similar for class. I'm going to mock up a page, or not, no, I'm going to publish a page that has all of the information that you need for a particular week. And so the information for a given week will be up. I think I'm going to be a little late on this one. So the general idea is that I'm going to try to have it all up on Monday, and then everything would be due at a particular place. We'll get there in a few minutes. But importantly, Top Hat seemed like the better way to go. I've never done this before, so we may have to adjust that in the middle of the semester, but at least that's where we're going to start for now. The other thing, I've already posted an online video. So you all worked through telomeres and telomerases. I did that without recording my face. So I just recorded the slides, talked over the slides. I've changed my approach here. I think one of the challenges that's going to come over the next few weeks is that we need to maintain some level of social contact with each other. And so I have put my face on these videos, and I'm talking to the camera and displaying my face in order to help kind of, I don't know, model that. It's an extra step, but I'm hoping that it makes this a little bit more of a personalized or a personal journey instead of something that's impersonal, where I just sort of sterilely point at the slides and talk through it while you do something else in the background. So I've added my face. You can see that there's kind of like a white thing that tracks my hand. I'm actually sitting in my garage. And so if I were to take that white thing away, you would see a treadmill and bikes. And this seemed a little bit better. I know it's a little quirky, but the virtual background covers up the clutter that is my life right now. So along those lines, I'm going to make discussion boards available. I'm going to have virtual office hours so we can sit and talk. I encourage you, while we're all trying to figure out how to deal with this, I encourage you to reach out virtually. Mental health is an important part of your well-being. And so one of the best ways, we are social animals, we are, period. And so one of the best ways to help improve or maintain your mental health is to continue to have social interactions. And so I encourage you to use those discussion boards. I encourage you to reach out for virtual office hours. I am as committed to your learning as I was before all of this started. And so if there's anything I can do to help make this content more clear or more interactive while we struggle to be safe, let me reach out to me. Let me do that for you. So the other thing that I have come to grips with over the last 2 weeks is that we all have shifting expectations. And so the last 2 weeks is a perfect example. Things have changed in a way that I did not anticipate. So when we left on spring break, I knew that this was out there, but I did not anticipate that it would accelerate at the pace that it did. And so I'm going to operate under the assumption that that's going to continue to take place, that the next month and a half are going to be as tumultuous as the last 2 weeks have been. And so with that in mind, I'm going to make all of the class content asynchronous with a single deadline in a week. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to record videos. I'm going to post them to Top Hat. I'm going to put the slides on As You Learn. The videos in Top Hat are going to have outline style bullet points below them. So you'll have a lot of information in those two sources. You can go into As You Learn, print out the slides just as you did previously. I recommend that you sit down, watch the videos with those slides. You can take notes on the slides, and then you can use the outline that's below the video. And then once you feel like you've reviewed the content, you can dig into the question that's below it. My goal for those questions is to try to push them so that they're a little bit more challenging than the questions that you had in class. And my thought there is that it's not timed. So in class, it was a timed scenario. Online, you can spend a little bit more time answering those questions. And so I would encourage you to reach out to your classmates, people that are trying to answer the questions together. Use any resources that are available to you. Try to dig into those questions. I'm trying to highlight some things that I think are going to be important going forward. So that's, I think, the big reason that this is probably not going to be available. I'll have all the videos shot before Monday, but getting those questions fine-tuned to a place where I want them to be is going to take some time. So the questions that are going to be in Top Hat, those are going to be for your in-class participation points. I'm still going to have homework assignments, or at least that's my thought right now. We'll see how the dynamic between the in-class questions and the homework questions develops. I'm not interested in assigning extra work, so I won't make busy work, but the idea is that I'd like to have them complement each other. And without having done that, I don't exactly know what it's going to look like. But my idea right now is to have Top Hat questions built in with the lecture slides and the video recording, built in with the video recordings and the outlines, and then have a separate homework assignment, sort of the way that we've been doing it throughout the semester. All of this, including the lab materials for the week, will be due on Sunday night at midnight. And so it's going to be, I hope, similar in terms of the amount of time it takes. And so whatever you were spending for class before, it should be a similar amount of time now that we've moved online. The difference is that you have the week to work on it, and so you can do it kind of at your own pace. And the rationale there is, as I outlined before, your expectations are going to be shifting. There are going to be things that come up, and I want you all to have the flexibility to go in and do that at your own pace. So all material will be asynchronous. All material will have the same deadline. It'll be 11:59 on Sunday night, and so you must complete all the material for the week at that time. I'll try to post something maybe on the first Top Hat page, and then again on As You Learn, that outlines all the things that you have to do in a particular week. Because one of my concerns is that I'm saying, yeah, it's going to simplify things to have one deadline, but it's possible that it actually is a lot to keep track of. And so you could work on one thing, think that you're done, and then there are two other things that you need to finish. And so I'll try to make a master list and post that in multiple places so that you can see what I'm expecting from you before Sunday at 11:59. So the one exception to that asynchronous rule is that I'm still trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do the online exams. So I really like the grading interface for Top Hat. You've seen that I've gone in and graded homework assignments using Top Hat. So I'd like to stick with that. They have an online exam function. The challenge with that online exam function is that it is synchronous. And so the way that it works is I write the exam, put it up online. I make the exam available to you. So I have to sit down at the computer and make it available so it goes up. And then you would sit down and take that exam, and then I would close it physically digitally. I would close it at the end of the session, and then it would disappear. It would not be accessible anymore. So I like Top Hat. I'm worried about Synchronous, so I might try to put up a poll someplace just to get feedback from you. My thought now is that we would set aside Tuesday at 9:30 um, on the week where an exam is supposed to be, and then that would be the time when I proctor the online exam. So maybe I'll have a poll asking if that's reasonable, and then another poll asking if uh, Tuesday at 9:30 is the best time. Of course, I can do makeup exams. I should be able to. No, I will be able to accommodate ODR accommodations or ODR requests, and so um, it. My idea is that it should function exactly as it did before. Um, I'll say that while we're thinking about exams, I have not had time to finish grading exam 2. I'm about halfway through that. I'm going to try to get that up as soon as I can this week, but I mean, that's all I can do to to hold on right now. So many shifting expectations. I just could not get to the online exams. I apologize for that. The drop deadline has been moved to March 30th, so you have time to look at this material. You're going to get a week. You're going to see how it feels. You will also get your feedback from exam 2 before that drop deadline. So if this isn't working for you, I would strongly consider dropping. As far as I know, this class will continue to be for a grade, so those expectations aren't going to shift. The grading scale will be as it was in the syllabus. Of course, that could change, but it sounds like that's the way that it's going to be for now. So I'm reasonable in terms of my expectations, but I think you should do a serious assessment before that March 30th deadline passes. And so one caveat that I'll add to that is that you should think carefully about any financial aid ramifications. So obviously no one's going to get kicked out of the dorms at this point, which is one possibility. If you drop below a full-time load, you would be removed from the dorms. Well, there are some people in the dorms, but I think it's a small handful. Campus is a very different place right now. It's quiet. Everybody's working from home in their garages. So yeah, I digress a little bit, but the March 30th drop deadline is something that you should consider. And please reach out to me if there's anything I can do in helping you think about that. The last thing that I want to say is that, like I mentioned at the beginning, Lab is already up. It's already available. So I would recommend that you have a look at that as soon as you can and reach out with questions. The good news about having a 2-week spring break is that we had time to shift. The good news about the coming weeks is I'm self quarantining, so I assume that you all are pretty close to that point, if not there. And so what I'm hoping is that we'll settle into some kind of rhythm. Who knows? I care about you all. I hope you're doing well. At some point, I'm going to put together a video where we talk about the coronavirus. At this point, I am too swamped with other things. I think it's more important for me to get those exams graded than it is for me to go off and learn about coronavirus or COVID-19 or coronavirus testing. There is an interesting idea there. So the testing methodology that's being used is PCR based. And so molecular biology seems like an excellent place to talk about how people are testing or being tested for coronavirus. I want to get there, but I want to do it in a good way and a responsible way. And there are some other boxes I have to check before I can do it. So I hope y'all are well. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. I've got a couple more points that I want to make before I get up from the chair, but I'm going to try to break these things up so that they're not excessively long. And this was at least 10 minutes. So I hope y'all are well. Please reach out to me if you need anything, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.